Hello, today we're going to walk through the last Airbender developmental network. Let's take a look at the key players of this network. The IRO gene acts to inhibit transcription of the Zuko gene. The Appa gene promotes transcription of the Aang gene. The Zuko gene inhibits transcription of the Appa gene. The Aang gene inhibits transcription of the Ozai gene. And the end phenotype is that if Fire Lord Ozai is transcribed, the Fire Kingdom will take over the world. Let's see if we can piece together the network from this info. All right, so here's the network, and we can see that all the relationships I previously mentioned act in a linear fashion. An example of a biological explanation for one of the relationships could be that the IRO gene is a transcription factor that is upstream of the sequence of DNA, and it binds to the Zuko DNA at the transcription factor binding site to repress transcription of Zuko mRNA. So now let's take a look at the wild type network. Can you guess the phenotype? Remember that wild type means that all the genes are functional, so the IRO gene is going to repress transcription of the Zuko gene. Thus, there would be no Zuko gene to repress transcription of the Appa gene. Appa will be transcribed and will act to promote transcription of the Aang gene, which will then act to inhibit transcription of the Ozai gene in a big battle. So because Ozai is not expressed, the end phenotype will be that the Fire Kingdom does not take over the world. Now let's see what would happen if the IRO gene is mutated and rendered non-functional. Can you guess the phenotype? In this case, IRO would not inhibit the Zuko gene, so the Zuko gene will be transcribed and can then inhibit the Appa gene. Then there will be no Appa gene to promote transcription of the Aang gene, so there will be no Aang to inhibit transcription of the Ozai gene. Finally, Ozai will be expressed, and thus the phenotype would be that the Fire Kingdom does take over the world. Here we have a double mutation, so in this case, both IRO and Zuko are mutated. Can you guess the phenotype? So in this case, the IRO gene will not be present to block transcription of the Zuko gene, but the Zuko gene is going to be non-functional anyways. So thus, Appa will be transcribed and will promote the Aang gene, which will inhibit transcription of the Ozai gene, resulting in the phenotype of the Fire Kingdom not taking over. And finally, we have an extra credit problem here. So let's suppose that IRO stays on the side of the Fire Kingdom and actually acts to promote Zuko rather than inhibit him. How would this alter the wild type phenotype? So in this case, IRO promotes the Zuko gene, and thus the Zuko gene will be available to inhibit transcription of the Appa gene. Thus there will be no Appa gene to promote the Aang gene, and thus no Aang gene to inhibit the Ozai gene. So Ozai will be transcribed and the Fire Kingdom will take over.